Hey guys, welcome to another video here on the ChesnoidGaming channel. This one is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be potentially the start of a little mini-series. Just so you're aware, I am going to be in the Everton save here, so if you haven't been fully up to date with the Everton save to this point, including Sunday's video, then there will be some spoilers for you if you haven't made it this far, or that far. So just be aware of that. But in this mini-series, we're going to be having a look, and I'm going to be explaining to you, passing on some information from the devs about some of the things that you've been giving me and we've been giving them feedback about, and also letting you know other feedback that I've heard from you and that I've passed on. Now, do bear in mind, this video might be a little bit more choppy with some jump cuts, etc., as I work through all the various different pieces I've got to look at and to go through and to pass on to you. But if you are intrigued to know more and have videos like this in the future, then do let me know in the comment section down below. And please do hit the thumbs up button on the video as well so that you don't miss out on more of the conversation between ourselves and the developers at EA on career mode. I'll start the video with items that we've had a response about, and then after that we'll go through some issues that you guys have raised to me and I've passed on, so that you know all of the feedback that's been moved on to the devs for career mode. And then at that point, once you've seen everything that I've mentioned, then let me know in the comment section down below if there's anything else from this video that you haven't heard me talk about that you think has been an issue in career mode, or any other feedback that you'd like to be passed on to the devs. Let me know in the comment section then. But please do make sure you watch the full video first before leaving that kind of comment, because of course something that you may mention now might be covered later in the video, and it would be a waste of your and everybody else's time to comment on something that is actually covered later in the video. So stick with me. I don't know how long this video is going to be. It might be a super long one. It might not quite be as long as a regular career mode video. I don't know. This is the first video of this nature I'm making. But I think it's only fair that we have a two-way conversation. You guys give me the feedback. We pass it on to EA and we get the feedback back. And you guys want to be involved in that. And that's the whole point of the Game Changers program, is to have that two-way street of conversation. So I will start, like I say, with things that we've passed on and we've heard back about. And then we'll move on to things that... the list of things that we've passed on and not heard back about, and then if there's anything else, then let me know in the comment section down below. A couple of these things I have already talked about in earlier career mode videos in the Everton series, so I'll briefly cover those again for those that haven't seen those particular parts of those videos. We went through in a recent episode and showed you the way that player positions and overalls change with the exclamation mark, and explained that it's not them being out of position that brings the exclamation mark, it's the movement in their ratings that brings that exclamation mark. Now, I'll go into the squad here and I'll again give you a visual explanation of that. You see, Alan is a CDM. In a CDM position, he's 86 rated with +3 boosts with his current fitness, sharpness, and morale. Now, if I change his position, you can see if I put him to centre mid, it now shows the exclamation mark, and he doesn't have the +3 next to him. On the right hand side, it still shows those boosts, but if I were to save that change, they would then disappear. So whilst it is a position that he has as his in his preferred, it's not his main position, and because of the nature of the stats that he has, you aren't getting the most out of him in a centre mid position. That's why the exclamation mark is there. It means that he can play in that position, but you're not getting the most out of his stats by playing him in that position. If you were to, say, move Calvert-Lewin to CDM, it's not one of his preferred positions. As such, it would have a red exclamation mark showing you that he's out of position, and you'll be getting a negative effect to their stats. So Alan there would be a centre mid, which is one of his positions, but not getting the most of his potential boosts because it's not his main position where all of those stats would give him the highest overall rating. His overall would be affected by playing him as a centre mid. That's what the exclamation mark means. Another issue that I've previously talked about is why the fixtures aren't the same as real life fixtures. Of course, this season in real life, everything's been delayed because of COVID-19, etc. The way that career mode is coded, each season is mapped the same way. So therefore the fixtures are laid out the same way for each season. Had they made the changes to the fixture list to replicate the real life fixtures from this current season, where they're delayed in starting, etc., that would then, with the way that it's coded, have been the case for every subsequent season, which would have meant that it wouldn't have worked properly, especially with fixture congestion and all the other various different cup competitions that are involved in the game, etc. So it's scripted and scheduled to be the usual way rather than one kind of COVID shortened season and then 14 further normal length seasons. We just have 15 normal length seasons. That's why the fixtures aren't exactly the same as they are in real life. Moving on to things that haven't been discussed yet between myself and you guys. These are issues that have been passed on, that you guys have given me feedback on. We've passed it to the devs and we have heard back from them with regards what either A, the issue is, B, whether they're fixing it, B, C, learn your alphabet, when a patch might be coming. Not when a patch might be coming, that it's going to be in a fix. Key to point that out, very key to point that out. When it comes to the feedback saying it's potentially in a patch, we cannot give you specific dates about when a patch might be coming. All we can say is that it's coming in a future patch. That is for numerous legal reasons, obviously, and other reasons as well. They don't want to be tied to a date in case there are further complications. It's not fair on you guys to make promises and say something's coming on this date, and then there's a delay that would then annoy you even more. All we can say is that all of these fixes that I'm about to mention are coming for a future patch. They're coming soon, hopefully, but in a future patch with an indefinite timescale attached. Don't get yourselves all worked up in the comments, be like, you said this was coming and it's not in this patch. There may be patches coming that don't include some of these fixes because they need more testing or they're not quite fixed yet and they'll be coming in a later patch. Please do bear that in mind. That is a key point to put across to you here. So, as we discuss things that have been passed on and we've had a response, I mentioned that you guys had mentioned to me a number of teams were being seen in European competition that hadn't qualified for European competition. The reason for that is, obviously, in FIFA career mode, there aren't all of the teams that are in real life. There are a number of teams that are in the Europa League and the Champions League in real life that aren't in FIFA. So to make sure that the competitions are filled and to avoid the issues that we had last year with the European competitions breaking, for all of the unlicensed teams that aren't in FIFA, that are in the Champions League, one of those, or they are all replaced completely at random from all of the other leagues in Europe in the European competition. That's why I've had someone say that Southampton were in Europe Season 1 and Brighton were in Europe Season 1. Obviously, more people will have noticed from the English leagues because a lot more people play with Premier League teams when they do career mode. But it does select completely at random to fill those gaps in the competitions from all sides throughout Europe. That's why you will occasionally, in Season number 1, see, or potentially in future seasons as well, but specifically initially in Season number 1, you will see teams that haven't qualified for Europe in a European competition. It's purely because they are filling the gap at random from an unlicensed team that aren't in FIFA that are in the real life competition. And of course, you can't have 3 teams in one group and 4 teams in all of the others. So there needs to be a 4th team in a group, and it's selected at complete random. That obviously is not necessarily something that needs fixing. That's just an explanation of why something is the way it is. I had someone message me on Twitter with an issue with their contracts, saying that when they were trying to renew contracts, they were finding that they were getting their job terminated in a certain scenario a few seasons in with a number of regens compared to real life players. That issue has been fixed and is scheduled for one of the early patches, with as well some other fixes, most notably being able to loan out players that you've recently transferred. That's something that's been highly requested as well. Being able to buy someone and then loan them out in the same window. That is something that is also coming in one of the early patches. There was also an issue with board objectives not necessarily being acknowledged. The ones that I particularly picked up, and that was picked up by you guys as well, the most specific one was when you had a sign 3 players from North America, and you'd sign someone from North America and it wouldn't count towards that stat on the board objectives. That issue has been identified and it's scheduled for a future patch. The issue in that case was that there was a hidden requirement that it needed to be a player signed in a crucial squad role to tick the criteria. That obviously has now been identified as an issue and being removed, and that will be fixed for a future patch, so you can sign anyone from North America, or we had it as South America in this save, and they'll be able to tick that tick in the board objectives without them having to have a crucial squad role in their contract. I had some concerns personally about the boosts that my players get, thinking, and you guys had this feedback as well in the beta as well, that we thought maybe the morale, sharpness and fitness boosts are perhaps slightly too overpowered for us as players. Like you can see, Wilfred Zaha here is on paper an 89 rated player now because of those boosts that he's getting, and they would be even higher still if he was at full fitness. Good to know that it's not as overpowered as it initially may appear here, because the AI have their own boosts. The AI do get boosted on a flat level as if they were at 80 sharpness and with happy morale, meaning that they don't quite get the max boost, but they do get really sizable boosts themselves as well. And that's by default. That doesn't fluctuate unless presumably they have an issue with their fitness. That might nullify it slightly. But by default, and in every game, they play as if they had 80 sharpness, which gives them a sizable boost, and happy morale, which gives them a sizable boost. So yes, whilst you might see big boosts on your players, the AI will also have some sizable boosts on theirs as well. The reason being that these boosts have kind of been introduced is to kind of replicate in some way the boosts that you get in Ultimate Team with chemistry styles, so that there's less of a disparity between the way that career mode feels and plays to the way that Ultimate Team feels and plays, so that, you know, both game modes feel relatively similar in the way that they play, whilst also adding in a great new mechanic for us to manage and more detail in career mode with sharpness and morale and fitness managing, etc., with a new training system. So that's where that stands. That's not, again, not something that is needing to be fixed. That's just information flowing from us to them and back again. The AI do get boosts. They do play with 80 sharpness and happy morale all the time, so you're not massively overpowered if you get all of the boosts from your side, if you're able to maximize your sharpness, morale and fitness boosts. Also absolutely thrilled to say, as I actually mentioned in an episode earlier this weekend, that first of the month injuries are to be no more. One of the biggest bugbears for me and a number of you are that the first of the month injuries are unrealistic. They take the immersion out of the game and we hate them. I passed that feedback on and they've said, yes, we're looking to remove them in a future update. Bing! Again, positive feedback from the devs, from your feedback to me and passed on. They are listening, they're making the changes that we would like to be made and also fixing the things that we would like to be fixed. That's great. They're the issues that I've had feedback on so far. I'll now go through a list of options or list of things that I've had feedback from you and I've passed on and others have passed on as well. And then if there's anything else outside of that, then please leave that comment letting me know what else you would like to be passed on to the devs or anything else you think might be an issue. I can always talk to you guys in the comments if there is something that I already know is a reply, then I can pass that on to you in the comment section. But let's move on to things that have been passed on and we're awaiting feedback for. This might be where the video gets a little bit choppy because I'm literally just going to go through. I'm having to scroll through my document in front of me and I'm literally going to reel these off. So do pay attention because we will skip here, there and everywhere. But I want you guys to know everything that's been passed on so that we don't end up kind of repeating ourselves in the comment section down below. I've asked about FA Cup graphics as they're not the same this year. They're not the same branded FA Cup graphics as we've had in previous years. I've asked if they are intentionally this way or if we're waiting for the graphics to be changed to the full licensed version of the FA Cup graphics. I've also asked about third kits as well. with regards whether they are coming to career mode or the game in general, as well as updates to some kits that either have the wrong sponsor or no sponsor. My initial response to that, whilst having not heard from the devs yet, would be that it's licensing legal issues as to why some things haven't been in the game yet. Of course, the game was only fully launched on the 9th, and a number of those issues with kits and sponsors, etc., was brought up prior to full launch date. And I would imagine a number of things are legally tied to a certain date as to when they can or cannot go into the game. But that part of it is speculation. I'm waiting for confirmation from the devs, but that feedback has been passed on with regards kits, with regards sponsors of kits, and with regards graphics for certain competitions as well, not looking the way that they have done in previous years. Whether they should or not remains to be seen, but that's the way that things are right now, and I've asked for clarification. I've also asked about the snowy lines. Obviously, we have the default snowy lines in snow, where the markings on the pitch go to orange, but we don't have a winter ball selected by default. I've asked if we can have a winter ball added to be in by default to avoid us having to go into the settings and manually change to a winter ball, so that we don't have a white ball in snow. We have a ball that stands out more, fluorescent yellow, orange, etc., to go with, or even pink like the Premier League had a few years ago, to go with the orange lines in snowy conditions, so that everything stands out more and is easier to see on the field. We've also asked with regards to training drills if we can have them carry from save to save. Within a save, say I'm at Everton here, if I was to go to a different club in this save, I would keep my scores from my training drills, the A's, B's, C's, etc., at that new club. However, if I were to start a new save at a different club, or even at the same club, I'd have to then redo the training drills to be able to get those scores back again. I've asked if it's possible, don't know if it's possible, but we've asked if it's possible for that's Sunday's video, finishing rendering. I've asked if it's possible for, once we do the training drills in one save, for them to carry across all saves. We, like I said, don't know if that's possible, waiting for feedback, but as you guys have experienced as well, it is a bit of a ball ache having to go through them all, every single save. One thing I've noticed is kind of a shortcut of sorts is that, spoilers again, by the way, for Sunday's video. As such, I'll release this video after Sunday's video has come out, so there will be a career mode video earlier on this afternoon for those of you that haven't seen it. One thing I have noticed is not necessarily a shortcut, but a way to minimize the micromanaging is to only do 3 or 4 of those training modules to an A rating, or only do a handful of them anyway, specifically the ones that have the most players in and have the biggest sharpness boosts. Only do those ones to an A rating or as high a rating as you possibly can, and then just use those ones rather than going through absolutely everything. Because I found myself, even though in this Everton save I did every single training module, I find myself only really using the same 4 or 5 week to week to week. So prioritise those that train the most people, prioritise those that have the biggest boosts to sharpness, and then you'll be able to minimise the amount of micromanagement you need to do, and minimise the amount of training drills you need to do. But we've also asked for presets for training modules to completely remove the micromanaging, so that, like in previous years with training, you could have a preset for each training module for a certain amount of players to grow in a certain way. You could hopefully, again, waiting on feedback for this, have presets for this training model so that you don't have to go in and individually do it every single time. I believe that's something they're working on, but we haven't got any idea on when that might come. It may be something, and this could be a case with a number of issues, it may be something that can't be implemented until the next FIFA. A number of these things can be implemented this FIFA, but some things do genuinely take a lot more work when it comes to building it and coding it and testing it, etc., to ensure that it works properly. So some things might not necessarily tied to this specific issue, just as a general point, some things might not be able to be implemented this year, might be able to be implemented in FIFA 22. Some things can be implemented on a much shorter timescale. Do bear that in mind as well, please. I've passed on feedback about the interactive match sim, with teams, AI teams, having a heavy amount of possession with minimal shots if any, and the user still winning the game. I gave an example from my stream career mode where I had 29% possession but won a game 3-1, and that was one of 3 games in a row where I had 30 or less percent possession in an interactive match sim game and won the game comfortably. Waiting for feedback on that. Hopefully we can get it balanced so that there's more of a flow of a game between two sides. It's more level 50-50, or around 50-50 obviously, and more level with regards to chance creation. Don't mind the odd outlier where it's like 70-30, etc. But it should be, in my opinion, and the majority of yours opinion, more regularly a closer balance in interactive match sims. But I don't know if the amount of time that you're in a half for affects that. I use 4-minute halves. It might be different with 6-minute halves, or with 5-minute halves, or with 10-minute halves. I haven't tested that, and I haven't heard anything back from the devs yet on that front either. I'm purely just passing on to you what I've passed on to them at this stage in the video. I've passed on feedback about players being out of position in the AI lineups. I've only noticed it twice in my first season here at Everton. Both times were very early on in the save, pre any patches, and I haven't heard any of you bring it up since then. I haven't had a response to my specific point in the feedback, but I only noticed Phil Foden played at centre-back once, and then in the first game of the season against Crystal, well, it might have been the second game of the season against Crystal Palace, Zaha was played centrally and MacArthur was played out wide. Both of those games came early doors in this save, and we haven't noticed any issues since. So potentially, that might have already been fixed with a patch that's already out. I haven't had it clarified by the devs yet, but it was an issue in FIFA 20 and they fixed it then, so presumably it's fixed. Now, if you are still having problems with that, let me know in the comments section down below, but I believe that it's on its way to being fixed or has already been fixed, but I haven't witnessed it more so than a couple of times myself. Do let me know your feedback. It hasn't necessarily been something that I've seen people complain to me about either in their own saves. I've noticed it twice in mine and maybe once on Twitter that you guys have had a similar issue. Outside of that, nobody seems to have had an issue with it at all, so I think it might be all right now, but do let me know. That, to this point, is everything that I've passed on and others have passed on to the devs at EA. And everything that I mentioned at the beginning part of the video is everything we've heard back from the devs so far about stuff that's being fixed or worked upon or answers as to why things are the way they are. We've had a great two-way conversation so far with the devs since the beginning of this game, and I hope that that continues over the next weeks, months, years to come. Thank you very much for watching the video. Thank you very much for your continued feedback. Like I say, please do let me know in the comment section down below if you've encountered an issue or you would like a question potentially answered by myself in the comment section down below that we haven't covered in this video. If there's anything that I have covered in this video that someone comments about, I will simply either ignore that message or delete that comment so that there's no confusion in the comment section. So please do avoid commenting anything that is mentioned in this video. I'd appreciate that very much indeed, just to make things easier and the conversation to flow and be easier to follow in the comment section down below. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying FIFA 21 Career Mode. I very much am. We've had great support on the channel. We've had great support on everyone else's channels as well. It's been a very, very positive launch to Career Mode this year. The best launch to a new series of FIFA, or new iteration of FIFA with regards to Career Mode in recent memory. And fingers crossed that continues long term. The devs are actively working on stuff. We've patches on the way. Again, can't give a timestamp for that. I apologise. It's just not something we're able to do. But know that stuff is in the works and coming. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed. Let me know if you'd like more of these or further updates down the line once I've had more feedback, or once a patch comes out, would you like me to make a video like this showing you, going through the changes, like with the pitch notes articles, etc., what changes have been made to career mode and make it part of this little mini-series. Also, if you have an idea of a title for this mini-series, then I'd be open to it in the comment section down below. I might call it something like FIFA 21 Career Mode from the developers or something like that. But I haven't yet decided. You'll know by the time you see this video because I'll have titled it. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Like I say, please do continue your feedback. It is very, very important that we continue to keep this conversation going both ways. But so far, very positive experiences. So really pleased with the launch of FIFA 21. Really pleased that you guys are enjoying the content on the channel. There was a career mode episode uploaded earlier on today. There will be a stream later on this afternoon. Link in the description down below. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.